Hello, everyone. Welcome to our class. Today it's our first lecture. Let's talk about what a computer system principle is, what this course is about. Okay? So, what's your computer systems? This is a very interesting topic. Imagine that a computer is a human. If a computer is a human, what's the brain of the computer? I think we will talk about these like details a little in this course. First of all, you probably know what the CPU means. CPU is the unit your computer used to compute, used to do like a math equation, arithmetic computation. So actually, the CPU is very important to your systems. So if we talk about a brain, we will look at CPU first. Because CPU, how your computer thinking, it's all about CPU. How your computer try to compute or try to do some calculation, it's about CPUs. Okay, so the brain is CPUs, but CPU enough to do it is thinking enough for human? Not really, because to support this thinking, to support this computation, you need the memory, right? So your brain has some memory. So actually, you need some memory part in your brain. This memory also can be split, can be separated to two categories. One is long-term memory, one is short-term memory. In your human bodies, you got then something new, you just have a new study, you learn new lessons, they just come into your short-term memory. And after you try to memorize it, it will back to your long-term memory. So that's two separate like a component category for your memory. So for the memory part, there's a short one, there's a long one. So in your computer, for the short one, we call it memory or we call it RAM. Okay, so this RAM memory is short memory. They will try to like store some data for computation, but the data will gone, like will disappear when you turn off your computer. Short-term memory is not enough because when you shut down your computer or your computer just like got accident like a power off, then everything in your short-term memory will disappear. So this is why we need long-term memory. In long-term memory, you can store a lot of data into long-term memory every time you want to use. Then your computer will get data from this long-term memory to your short-term memory, then try to run some computation based on it. So for example, you install software. The software will be installed in your hard disk. So the actually long-term memory in your computer, like hard disk, is one of your long-term memory. Also, you can use another like term, secondary storage device to describe this long-term memory. Okay, so if you install some software, you try to save the data into your hard disk and try to keep this data safe. This is long-term memory. Of course, this is just for brain. With just with the brain, you cannot do anything because you need your hand, you need your eyes, you need your mouth to communication, to interactive, to do something you want. You cannot just thinking computation. It's not enough, right? So for with this brain, we also need some input and output. So input, try to get some data, come into the computer, come to the brain to do some computation. Output, after computation, try to give this data out from your computer. So actually, there's another part of component. It's called input output. We also call it I/O. So this is also a very important part. So you have a brain. The brain can thinking, can computation, can do some calculation with CPU. Also, you have a memory. It's a short-term memory, long-term memory. Also, you have an input output. Try to communicate to everything outside of the central component, central unit, right? So this is how you actually work, like how computer work like a human. However, this is not enough. So what's the stop? of your computer. We have a soul in our human body, and the soul try to connect everything together, try to connect the brain, try to connect this memory together, try to do something. So what's the key part for your computer? We need a really powerful software. It's still software. It's called operating systems. So actually, you don't need these operating systems. You can control this central unit. But every time, everything we see right now, your laptop, your desktop, even a small device like your phone, they have operating systems. Operating system is the kind of a gigantic software try to support the user. You can install your user program or run your user program by the support from the operating systems, because operating systems help you to manage the CPU, manage this memory, manage this input output. So actually, not just the device, not just the hard device, you still have the software. Okay, all of these parts, CPU, memory, input, output, they are hardware. And you also need a software, a really powerful software to help you to manage whole bunch of this stuff. And we call this one, we call it operating systems. So operating systems try to connect everything together, then support your user. Okay, so this is how your computer actually works. And this is how most of your device actually works. Okay, so you can see actually this slides shows the picture, the general pictures of how your device actually do. You have some computers hardware here, like your CPU, RAM, disk. Actually, between this user program and this device, you also have another layer here. It's called operating systems. Operating systems help you to manage this device. So you tell the operating systems, I want to run this software. It will try to connect your software and this device together to support your software running. So this is very important part in this course. And we will talk couple different details about these operating systems today. Of course, we have another course called operating systems. They will tell you more. But in this class, we want you to have a briefly understanding about each component, each kind of how they actually work in this system stuff. So it can help you prepare you for some upper level like a system course. Okay, so here's the topic for this course. First, for the start, we will talk about how your data represent in your systems. So usually we will talk about bits and bytes. So how your data is binary, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, so many 0, 1, how it represent your memory, represent your systems. So we will talk about a little bit. Then we will talk about your fundamental of your operating systems. So this is kind of Linux operating systems. We will talk about this operating system a little bit. Then we will talk about machine organization. It's about CPU, how you actually work on the CPU. And also we will talk about a new kind of languages. So far you know a lot of like high level languages. How these represent, how your machine read these languages. Actually, you need to do some translation. So here we will talk about assembly, a low level languages. Okay, then we will talk about the memory. So there's a couple different memory, long-term memory, short-term memory, how your operating systems manage these long-term memory, short-term memory. Then we will also talk about the process. This process is kind of like a part of your operating systems. Your operating systems use, your Linux operating systems use this process to manage the software, okay? Then we will talk about how your process communicate to each other. So we will talk about the signal type stuff. Then we want to do some like a multiple thread, multiple like a run instance of your software. So there's some thread synchronization part. And at the end, we will talk about network. So this is the topic for this course. So this is for today's topic. I hope you can have a general picture of what this course is about. We will try to give you a general picture of like different device, different component, different like a small piece topic of your system computer, like computer systems. Okay, so I hope you will enjoy it. I believe you will enjoy it. Okay, so see you next time. The computer system principle is so awesome.